Hello, my name is Ben Bortner, and you are listening to The Watchtower, where we talk about your favorite movies and TV shows. Introduce yourself, Desi.
Hello, everybody. My name is Desi.
All right, that is my co-host there. Today, we are going to be talking about some relatively old things. I wouldn't call it old because it's only a few months old. We're going to be talking about Stranger Things. I like it. What do you think, Desi?
I think I like it is an understatement, Ben.
It really is.
Love this show.
Yeah, man.
This is it's such a good show.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you have seen it already. If you haven't, I'm not sure what you're doing here.
What are you doing with your life?
But it's called The Show of the Summer. It came out around August, a little before that actually. But it's a really good show. I finished it pretty quickly. It's just so good.
I mean, Desi, let's be real. What else comes out in the summer? That's something I've always wondered, right? Why is summer TV not a thing? You know, it really should be.
Well, Stranger Things kind of made it a little more of a thing for me, at least. So
yeah, exactly.
It's Stranger Things. It's a really good show taking place in the 80s about these kids that live in a small town, and one of the kids goes missing, and the show's kind of about finding that kid. And he goes missing
for a few episodes, I would say.
And he goes around. He disappears for like a supernatural type cause. It seems like at first, and you find out more about it as the show goes on.
Yeah. It's this great mystery sci-fi horror thing.
It's kind of like the movies like E.T., Super 8, Alien, and Poltergeist. Like if you like combined a bunch of those classic 80s movies.
Classic 80s sci-fi horror movies. Man.
So if you combined a bunch
great.
of those together, you pretty much get Stranger Things.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Just go watch E.T. and you'll be no, I'm kidding. Great show, man. Fantastic. Do you want to go more in depth now?
Sure. Something I really liked about it was the cast.
Oh yeah.
They have like for kid actors on a Netflix, like a web series, because it's Netflix. I really didn't think kid actors on a web series would be that good.
Yeah.
Because usually in a lot of TVs and movies, even if the budget is pretty big, the child actors are not really that great. But in this show, these actors they're like middle school aged, I think, and they're great at acting. They really like pull the show together and make everything great. Especially Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, man.
I'm not quite sure her age, but
she was 11 when the show was
yeah,
filmed,
she's
and
very
she's
young,
currently
but
12.
She plays 11 in the show, and she is fantastic at 11. She has this really great stare that like it creeps you out, but at the same time, it like, I don't know, it makes you be able to like see into her and see what she's feeling.
Yeah.
And even though she doesn't say many words, you can still tell what she's feeling most of the time.
Yeah, I really get that, man. It's just such. I understand what Netflix usually has a pretty good job doing casting, you know.
Yeah,
but,
this was a very exceptional job because I've never seen kid actors this good on a TV show. Like maybe in like a big budget movie, but this is the small TV shows. Those kids have a bright future ahead of them.
Yeah, man, dude. I mean, how awesome must it be, right? To instead of going to Disney or wherever child actors usually go, I guess, or advertisements or something, to just be when you're like 11 years old to get this major show, dude. You're set for life at that point, like unless you turn into whoever played Anakin Skywalker, right, in the first Star Wars movie. Yeah. Jeez, he went like deep into drugs or something.
Okay, let's not talk about that though.
Yeah.
I also think just the actors, not only the kid actors, but of course we have Winona Ryder.
Oh yeah.
She was great in that movie. I mean, in that TV show, and I don't know, she did a great job. As Will's mom. I just really like that character.
Yeah.
And I also like the character Hopper, who's the police sheriff.
Chief Hopper.
Yeah. Chief Hopper.
Man.
I thought he was a good character, and you get to see him change throughout the show. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's a different person when the show ends, but it's in a good way. Like a lot of shows, they character change, like when a character changes, they do it either too slow or it's too quick and it's not really paced right. I thought Stranger Things did a perfect job at the pacing Hopper's character to grow and develop over time.
Yeah. I mean, really, when you look at TV shows, right, it's just taking a bunch of characters over the course of a few episodes or even a season from one place to another. And that's literally what TV shows are constructed out of, right? And a lot of the time, people either don't get that, which is really weird because it's this very easy role. Look at Zack Snyder, right? Just you have to have your characters change over time, right?
Yeah, and
over the course of the story. And I think Stranger Things does an absolutely wonderful job of it. And I think also it would be very easy to make this a story about children like losing their innocence over the course of time. And that is in some elements what it's about. But it's also just about them kind of having an adventure and still like not quite losing that sense of innocence.
Yeah, which I think is really good. I did like the way the characters, the child characters, they all had a friendship, which you can see gets tested, but I think their friendship really made the show great. I loved it. Yeah.
Man, the all the kid actors seem to have they seem to have a lot of chemistry, which is good because kids don't typically get how to act in those situations, So, man, just
I thought it was done really good.
Again, you have an entire show focused on 10-year-old actors. How do you do that, man?
Yeah, that's I haven't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, dude, that was I mean, it's
Well, one more thing I really liked is the way they set up the alien or whatever you want to call it, that monster, the Demogorgon.
Oh yeah.
As it's referred to a couple times. I really like the way they pulled that off because you really don't see the monster until you only really get a nice view of it until the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But you just gradually see more and more. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a really good job with the monster, making it scary by not showing you the whole thing. Like at first you really don't know what it is and it's scary.
Yeah, I think it's to me it's kind of a bit odd how the whole the kids just kind of figured out this whole thing through Dungeons and Dragons. I get that not everything is the same, but it's an interesting idea that they figured out through a Dungeons and Dragons book, but it also doesn't entirely make sense.
Yeah,
it's a bit of wow, that's a bit too much of a coincidence there.
Yeah. Well,
I guess there's it's based off of evidence, but that's really the only problem I have with the show.
Yeah, other than that, it's very good.
It's pretty fantastic. Do you want to do an episode by episode rundown, or let's not do that actually?
I don't really remember each episode. But it's also really addicting too. That was another thing. This is a problem, but it's not really a problem because
I watched the entire show within I believe 12-hour span.
Oh, wow, that's impressive. Mine was more of a 48-hour span.
Yeah.
But it takes up a lot of your time, so if you're gonna watch it, you have to set some time aside because you're gonna want to watch the next one right after you see it.
It wasn't even planned out. I just watched. I just I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna watch 2 episodes. And it kind of happened. And then it was 2 a.m, and
once you see one, you're just like, do I have time to watch the next one? Screw it, and then you click the next episode.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Netflix is so appealing as a service, right?
I think Stranger Things, part of the reason it was so successful was because it was on Netflix. Because I think it's a lot better to binge this show than to wait a week per episode.
Oh yeah.
I'd much rather watch it so quickly than have to wait for a week each time. I don't know. Another thing I really liked about it was that each episode gets better and better. I don't know, Ben, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's I think every single episode, usually with Netflix shows, you have like a drop-off point, usually around maybe episode 4 or 5, because
Yeah,
the first
it
5
usually
episodes
peaks at one
get you
point.
really hooked. But then eventually it starts winding down.
Yeah.
And you can start to tell, hey, maybe the Netflix creating giant movies thing isn't like the
Yeah.
best idea, because sometimes it goes down. But with Stranger Things, man, you have you just have solid 8-episode run, and they knew that, hey, we don't have enough material here to stretch it out into 13 episodes.
Yeah,
which
which
is what
was
Netflix
a really
usually does.
smart idea, because I think that's perfect at 8 episodes.
They let them do it, and I mean, there's that quote at the end of the show, right, where I really appreciated it, that they're playing the Dungeons and Dragons game, right, and they basically just have a bunch of metaphors for what happened with the show, and it's basically just a teaser to season 2. So they have like the summary, but then they just have like the other kids besides Dustin, who I think is like managing the game, just have turns like asking questions about, and it's basically just asking, hey, what's going to happen in season 2?
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Or like that. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was a good way to end the show.
Yeah, man.
What do you think about the ending? So, spoiler alert, we're about to talk
We're
about
about to talk about
the ending of the show. Like,
we're about to talk about some serious spoilers, man. It's
So-
gonna be intense.
okay, so in the end, we see 11 get like vaporized when
Yeah.
she goes to attack the monster, the Demogorgon, whatever you want to call it. She sends it flying against the wall, and then her and the monster both get vaporized, and
All
we
right.
don't see her again. After
So I'm gonna tell you what I think this is. It's probably not right, but I believe there's a theory I developed by myself. I could have stole it off the internet. I don't quite remember. I watched this show like a month ago. However, what I think is going to happen is you have X-Men number 134 is repeatedly mentioned throughout the series, right? And for any X-Men fans listening, or any non-X-Men fans listening, that is the issue where Jean Grey first becomes Dark Phoenix, who's in the X-Men canon. Jean Grey is this psychic telepath person, and eventually who basically had no character up until maybe the reboot in I believe it was the 70s. Yeah, so basically X-Men went on hiatus for a bit, and because it wasn't selling well, because it wasn't that great of a book. And then they had a semi-reboot-ish thing in the 70s, which was where they introduced Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, I believe it was. That's when, God, I forget his name now. Whatever, big X-Men writer. Golden Age of X-Men, right? And they have Jean Grey, who was previously just kind of blatantly a really boring character. And they have her go through just kind of getting more powers and seeing what that does to someone. And but also they make her become evil, which is where the Dark Phoenix thing comes in. I probably did a terrible job at explaining that.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And that storyline was adapted into the great movie X2 and the terrible movie X3. So you should, if you want a better explanation of what happened there, just go watch those two movies. Or don't. I probably summed it up better than X3 did. So, but
what does this have to do with 11?
what does this have to do with 11? 11 has the exact same power set as Phoenix.
Yeah.
And X-Men 134 is mentioned. In X-Men 2, right before... Spoiler alert for X-Men 2, by the way, Jean Grey dies. She has, like, flames come out of her, which symbolizes that, hey, Phoenix is about to come, man. We're about to do the Dark Phoenix storyline. Get hyped. And right before 11 dies, and Jean Grey like uses her powers to sacrifice herself, saving everyone. Which, guess what? 11 did too.
Oh, yeah.
And right before 11 dies, doing exactly the same thing that Jean Grey did, she has red eyes, which I think signifies that 11 is going to become evil in season 2 in some fashion.
Wow, that's actually I like that theory. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. It's there's some more evidence that I can't think of right now, but
Yeah.
it's
Well, I know the Duffer Brothers, who are the directors of Stranger Things, they do like to do a lot of references.
they do.
To
Yeah, they do.
older movies, and so it's possible that the red eyes could have been a reference to X-Men.
Yeah. Also, I'm calling it right now. Mike is going to have to kill 11 in season 2.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Yeah,
That got really dark. Wait,
I mean, it's gonna happen because 11 is gonna become
What?
evil, right? According to my
Okay,
theory.
I don't think
according
it's
to
that
my theory.
dark. Okay,
11 is going to become evil, and to save everyone in season 2, Mike is going to have to kill 11, and
Damn.
it's gonna be some serious drama, and I am not 100% about this because it's what happened in X-Men, right? But
well,
as you said, the Duffer Brothers love their parallels and references and stuff, and
So that-
this would be quite a parallel. However, it's a
Yeah.
bit too predictable, right? It's exactly the same plot.
yeah.
And
Also, that's a very dark ending, Ben. This isn't like a
Is it?
very dark show. I mean, it's scary, but it's not super dark. I don't think they make a kid kill another kid.
I don't know, man. I think they would. I do think they would. So
That was my chair. Sorry.
yeah.
Wow. I don't think that's gonna happen. Just saying. I do like your idea of 11 coming back evil, similar to the way Phoenix did. But I think that might happen.
I think it's going to happen, but I think the parallels will probably stop there because
It might have just been a reference because
they do
make
like
a
their
camp-
parallels and references, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be as blatant a ripoff as that would appear to be,
Yeah.
because it's not even. It would literally be the same plot. But if it does happen, I wouldn't think it would be a bad decision. It would
Yeah.
plus I would have had predicted it. So, boom.
Well, let's keep talking about 11. Where do you think she is right now? If she just went after she vaporized, does she go to the Upside Down?
I mean, like, there's in the current canon, right? In the current Stranger Things canon, there's only one possibility, right? And she's in the Upside Down.
Yeah. Or she died.
She died.
But-
But she's not dead because remember that little box thing with Chief Hopper, right? At the end?
Yeah, what was that about? To me, I was just like, okay, 11's probably still alive or something like that. Something like alive.
Something like alive. Yeah.
Yes. But I wasn't quite sure what the point of putting those Eggos in the box was.
It's to let the audience know, hey, 11 might not be dead. This could be some sort of funeral thing.
Yeah.
Or she could be picking up these Eggos somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, we don't know.
She could have just teleported herself. That's also a thing, right? Because 11's like psychic.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
telekinetic.
that's another thing.
She could have like
But
just,
when she fought the monster, her powers were almost drained.
That's
Remember,
true,
she
yeah.
was very tired, so I don't know if she'd have the power to teleport herself somewhere. But I think that thing with Hopper, I don't know what the point of that was, but I'm pretty sure it just was to signal to the audience that, hey, 11 might still be alive. As of now, though, they still haven't confirmed that she's going to be in season 2.
yeah.
Even Millie Bobby Brown, the actor who plays 11, in an interview, she said she had no idea if she was coming back for season 2. But
That's a bit odd.
yeah, but
She's kind of the central character.
I think they kind of have to bring her back because she was honestly part of the reason why the show was so good. And if they took her out for season 2, I think a lot of fans would be very, very, very upset.
Yeah, I mean,
If you're a fan of Stranger Things, you probably would be upset too. I'd be upset.
It would be pretty weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. That would be, wow, just like killing off the main character, right? And I assume there's going to have to be like emotional response to this because as it is, right? They just kind of they have the, oh yeah, she dies, but then they do like the 2 months later thing or a month later, and it appears like no one cares.
That was a little odd to me that they had. How do I put this? They didn't seem to make a huge deal after Eleven's death. Like
Chief Hopper seemed to be the only one who actually cared, which is odd because I thought Will was like in love with her.
Well, he was, but like, or he seemed
whatever,
to be.
Yeah.
But then the 2 months later, there was, none of the boys seemed to actually be affected that much.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like, oh, everything's back to normal now.
Yeah, exactly. And I've heard that maybe that's because they're being like manipulated by the government in some fashion.
Ooh,
I don't know. But
or that evil, like really suspicious looking lab with the really suspicious looking white haired guy.
well, yeah, that's the government. It's,
Okay, but I think in season 2, we'll probably see them looking sad because
looking sad.
Well, I mean, not looking sad.
Yeah, there will be emotional repercussions. You know?
Yeah, there you go. I think we're definitely going to see that in season 2. I think it was just in season 1. 11 only dies. After 11 dies, I don't know. There's only like a handful of minutes left in the entire show after that.
Yeah.
So I just don't think they had time to show the boys being affected by 11's death and having things get back to normal pretty much.
Yeah, there's also Will, right? He has he like spitting out.
Yeah, Will's another
thing.
one.
What was going on there, man?
So I think that the monster from the Upside Down, I think that thing, it reproduces through other people.
Yeah.
That's my theory, is that it like lays eggs inside of people.
That would make sense, right? Because we saw like Barb, who was she had like stuff like coming out of her mouth, right?
Yeah, she just, yeah. And so I think it was about to do the same thing to Will. Yeah,
so I mean, I think the obvious next step forward is that there are going to be like multiple Demogorgons, right? Maybe. Oh, I just came up with some. So what if Will becomes a Demogorgon? What if that like they like grow inside of him?
Oh, what if he like is pregnant with a Demogorgon?
Yeah, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's like a parasite and it takes over your brain or something. Maybe there will be like zombies in this.
Ooh, I don't know if it's going to go there, but you think there's a chance that Will could become like a zombie?
I mean, I literally just thought of this, man. But it seems like a semi-interesting idea, semi-plausible.
That would be pretty interesting. I think maybe he's going to get like a virus or something in season 2.
Yeah, that makes a pretty reasonable amount of sense. Maybe he'll become like sick or something.
Yeah, I think he's gonna become sick and then cough up some little monster. But that's my prediction. He's gonna cough up some little monster.
Be like a tiny Demogorgon thing.
Yeah. And he's also in season 2. I think they're gonna show like he's dealing. I guess it's kind of like how soldiers have to deal with PTSD. He's dealing with like flashbacks from the Upside Down. Like we see it in a little bit in season 1 at the very end.
Yeah, at the very end.
He sees his bathroom like it's the Upside Down. So I think
that could also be like a mental thing, right? That could also be like a psychic thing. Or
well,
something.
I think it is, but so he keeps seeing the Upside Down, which will probably be more further explored in season 2. He's going to keep seeing the Upside Down.
Yeah. Because he seems like fine otherwise, right? So
yeah, aside from the fact that he's coughing up slugs.
Yeah. Aside from that fact. He's I don't know. Do you want to talk about some secondary characters now? Barb, Nancy.
Yeah, poor Barb.
Stephen Harrington. Steve Harrington.
Okay,
For
well,
all you Steve Harrington lovers out there.
there's something going around that there's going to be justice for Barb in season 2.
Oh my
You've
God.
heard about that?
Yeah, I have.
I don't know what that's about.
I'll tell you my short opinion on that.
Okay, go
Barb
ahead.
isn't a character. She's
Whoa.
a plot device. Get over it, man.
Damn,
She's,
Ben. Damn.
She doesn't matter. She's just you. Maybe the writers should have put more character in her.
Damn.
Besides, wow, I don't want you to date this guy, best friend. It's just like she has one attribute, and then she dies. And you know, it's the classic like horror movie. We're gonna have someone dispensable to kill off, and you know, it just happens that this dispensable person appeals to some people. You know, like oh hey, she's like nerdy and stuff and wears stupid clothes.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, I didn't mean to say stupid clothes. I'm going to say nerdy
damn,
clothes.
Ben. I think they kind of just threw her away really quick. I felt bad for her, though, because... Okay.
Sure, but only on like a superficial
No,
level.
because she kind of... No one really cared when she was gone. I mean, Nancy cared, but that was about it. No, like, there was no search party. Like, the whole show kind of kicks off after Will goes missing, and then people have to look for it.
Yeah,
for
man.
him. Nothing really happens when Barb dies. Everyone's like, oh, I think she probably ran away from home. And yeah.
Yeah.
And she just dies instantly in
just
the
ignores
Upside
it.
Down, where there's like, instead of like Will and Nancy, who both go into the Upside Down for like, Nancy goes in for about the same amount of time Barb does, and Will goes in for like a whole week, and they come out pretty much fine. They don't
Yeah.
die instantly.
Yeah, okay.
So I think they did it kind of dumb.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess I just went on a Barb rant right there. I mean, I never found myself that attached to her.
No, I never was either, but
She is the dispensable character.
I just felt bad for her because she didn't do anything wrong.
She's not treated well by the writers, and she's not treated well by the actual characters in the show. So why should I care about her, right? And I mean, she's just there to... I guess she's just kind of there to serve as, hey, this monster is a threat. Except that's the reason why Will is there. So, and Will has a character, and he's there for probably less screen time than Barb is.
About the same.
Well,
of flashbacks.
no, actually, yeah, that's true. Barb is there for actually 6.5 minutes of the actual show. So
Oh, that's it. Yeah, Will's
6.5
definitely-
minutes. 6.5 minutes, and for some reason, people are so excited.
because they treated her like crap. It was bad, and she was like probably the most innocent character.
Okay.
Also,
yeah.
because she had only 6 minutes on screen.
Can we talk about the god Steve Harrington for a second?
I hate that guy.
Steve Harrington. I love Steve Harrington.
Why?
I'm kidding.
Why? Okay.
I don't have.
He just bothered
I don't have
me.
that.
He was oh my god. He just. I
Okay.
hear.
What I don't understand is that Steve Harrington is a dick throughout
Yeah.
most of the show.
Yeah, he's
and
just-
then for some reason at the end, Nancy is just, hey, let me get back together with this guy.
That bugged me. Actually, he did try to be nice at the end, so I'll give him the at least you tried award. But
Yeah.
other than that, he's just I don't know. He's just like an asshole through the whole show, and he just bugs me.
Yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but also he's just the coolest kid in school, man. He's just so cool. Who wouldn't date him?
He's just I don't know. He's just so annoying.
Nah, I'm kidding. But
Dumb.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But I know the actor who plays him seems like a really nice guy though, which is
He probably is.
weird, which I think that's what influenced the Duffer Brothers to have Steve end up with Nancy in the end instead of Jonathan.
Yeah. I mean, it
because-
looks like another thing, actually, I really like the way the show has music integrated with the story. I talked in last week about how I love shows and movies that are have music-driven stories, like Luke Cage, Guardians of the Galaxy. This show does that too, and not to quite an extent, but it just I love it because
I like the theme song.
There's this one scene where Steve Harrington's driving around and he's playing Sunglasses at Night, which is such a great like fit for him because that song's all about faking who you are, sunglasses at night, when you don't need to, because Steve Harrington, like, he's a nice guy underneath, but he's like playing cool to impress Nancy. Except Nancy, like, she likes that, except at the end you can see she's more impressed by the real him, And I just, God, such a perfect song choice. But man, that's another part of Steve's character. Actually, he's I don't think he's actually a dick. I think he's just pretending it for his friends and for.
No,
for
I think he's always been a dick. But then once Nancy like dumped him and went for Jonathan Byers, I think.
Went for Jonathan Byers.
Well, I mean, she was hanging out with him. Then he realized, oh dang, I'm being a dick, and then he decided to change.
But then he's a better person.
I guess and he gets that. That's what I said in the beginning. He gets the "At least you try" award because
at least you try.
I mean, sure, he like helped clean the spray paint down when he wrote like "Nancy is a slut" on the wall. Yeah. But I mean, I guess that makes him a better person.
Yeah.
But,
no, actually, I completely forgot about that. Actually, Steve Harrington is a dick. But
yeah. So I guess he's a slightly better person because he tried to clean up the mess he made. But
yeah. I mean, it seems like he's grown a lot as a character, but I don't really understand why Jonathan Byers, right? He's just kind of there, and I get that. I felt like they were kind of leading towards something romantic
with Nancy and Jonathan.
Yeah,
that was weird.
That just kind of doesn't pan out, and there's no real like ending to that.
That was really weird.
It's like Steve just kind of comes back into the picture, and then Jonathan is just out of the picture.
Well,
right?
because Jonathan helps Nancy with like the upside down and finding Barb.
Yeah,
and then Steve gets jealous and does some stupid stuff. And then Nancy gets mad at Steve, and then Steve's like, "Oh, dang, I screwed up." And then they pretty much, then they end up back together, Nancy and Steve, and Jonathan kind of goes back to where he was before, where he was just a lonely kid with no friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty sad, actually. But
yeah, no, I get that. I mean, like, the whole thing, right? It's just Steve Harrington, right? He's a typical cool jock guy you've seen a million times, tons of 80s movies, in every 80s movie ever, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But I feel like they, because he's not just a villain, though, right? Which is what Barb thinks he is. He has layers, and he goes through an arc, and that's what I appreciate about the show, is that every major character has an arc, right? Except for Barb, because Barb's dead.
She only has 6 minutes of screen time.
6 minutes of screen time, so she's not a major character.
Being innocent to being dead.
She probably has less screen time than Steve's two friends or whatever, who don't go through arcs also. But still,
I forget their names. But they're unimportant.
But like I was saying earlier, show's all about taking characters from point A, point B. Show does that fantastically with every single character. And I guess the reason we haven't really been talking about the main four characters is because, I mean, they're just kind of... they do that, but they're also like... well, hold on.
I don't know.
I guess I'm trying to... Let me formulate this for a sec. The main four characters still do go through those arcs, right? And they have those... they go through character changes, and they realize stuff about themselves, which is great because they're like young kids, Yeah. And it's, I guess, this show in a way could be seen as like a coming of age story, but it's not, because as I said earlier in the episode, they still do maintain the innocence. And,
Or at least it seems that way.
Yeah, or at least it seems that way. Because is it all a government conspiracy? Who knows?
Because there's like I'll call it the epilogue section. Like after 11 dies and all that stuff goes down, everything seems to be back to normal. At least for like the 5 or 10 minutes we see that. So I think in season 2 they'll go more in depth with the impact of it.
Yeah.
So I think you'll probably see them be like a little more mature, and it'll seem more coming of age in season 2.
Yeah. I mean, also, I was watching SNL this weekend, and they did a skit on Stranger Things, and it actually brought up a good point. Where were Lucas's parents? Wait, Lucas? Is that his name? I forgot.
Huh?
The black kid. What's his name?
That was Lucas.
Lucas. Where were his parents, right? Because you see everyone... Dustin, too, actually.
Yeah, you never see Dustin's parents.
You never see Dustin or Lucas's parents. And I
Because
guess
they're-
Will and Mike are supposed to be focused on more.
Yeah, I think that's why. You never really see
It's...
them.
But you just kind of don't get... Mike's parents are also pretty pushover, too, aren't they?
What do you mean?
I guess they're focusing more on Nancy right now, except, like, Mike is just allowed to do literally whatever, you know?
Yeah, well, no, his parents are like... I don't know. They seem like the nuclear family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think it's supposed to be that way. Like
is
your
supposed to be
80s
that way.
nuclear family.
Cause you know what? It's saying, hey, you would expect these characters to be an 80s nuclear family, and we don't really want to go in depth on them. So we're just gonna say, hey, here's an 80s nuclear family. Boom, you have your character traits, and you don't need it.
Yeah,
and that's all you need, right?
think
to
that-
get what you want, which is actually pretty good storytelling.
I
if
actually
you look at it.
I actually like that decision because, and there's some humor with it too. Like the dad is always kind of clueless about everything.
Yeah. I mean, like, if something like, I'm not sure if this is actually a rule of storytelling, but usually it's good if there's already like a preconceived pop culture notion of something and you don't really want to go in depth on someone's character. Just have them be that, you know? Be exactly what the audience expects them to be. And that can get some humor in, that can do without imagining new characters. It's a good way
it was
to do.
great.
But,
Another thing about that family I don't get though, how do they wake up that early to make that much breakfast in the morning? Like, I barely have enough time to
That's
put cream
true.
cheese on my bagel.
yeah, that's true.
How do they have pancakes
Man, I
and
just-
waffles and stuff on a school day?
On a school day.
In the morning.
Yeah, I would... Geez, when do they go to school? I guess... man.
That would be the life.
We gotta look up some... hey, are the 80s, like... Did they go to school earlier?
You mean later?
Or later, yeah.
I don't know. Well, we'll just have to ask Google that question.
Yep, just gotta ask Google. That's that's the answer to everything. If there's one thing you take away from this, kids, it's that Google will answer all of your questions. Always be like Steve Harrington, who is never a dick, and just all of that. That's basically all you need in life. It's Steve Harrington and Google.
Cool. Okay. You want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I think we're about done. We're about done with Stranger Things. I think we've pretty much exuded that, exceeded that. Yeah. All right. Desi, you haven't watched the rest of Luke Cage, so we're not going to be talking about that. You know what did happen?
What?
Iron Fist trailer. What do you think?
I think he's got pretty strong fists, that Iron Fist.
He certainly does. If there's one thing I can say about Iron Fist is that he does indeed have a magic fist.
Yeah. I literally I didn't hear about the character I didn't know who the character Iron Fist was before the Defender series started coming out. So that was like my first look into the character. I don't know. Did you know about him? Much about him?
I get that I'm usually into more comics and stuff. I had heard of Iron Fist. I still don't know what his deal is, man. He was like in the Himalayas. He's I don't know. He's I hadn't really heard of him before, but I guess basically what Danny Rand, who is Iron Fist's deal, is basically that he's a ninja from the Himalayas, but he's like an outsider or something like that happens, and he's just kind of, oh hey, we're gonna make you a ninja now or something. I've always been very confused on Iron Fist.
I don't know. In the trailer, something that I thought was interesting, I think you see a glimpse of Simpson from Jessica Jones, that cop.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what he has to do with it.
Oh yeah. That's I completely forgot about that guy, man. He's Nuke or whatever.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have the trailer pulled up on my phone right now. So,
I believe that guy's name is comic book name is Nuke.
Nuke, and he has like in the comics, doesn't he have United States flag like tattooed on his face?
In the comics story, what happened is that he got hit by like a radioactive explosion, but like an American flag was in front of his face at the time, so an American flag melded onto his face. Oh my god.
That's hardcore.
I think that's what happened. At least I may be wrong in that. I'm not huge on my nukeology.
But he's an extreme Captain America. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
he's like Captain Super America.
Yeah. I expected that to be done in Jessica Jones season 2, but you're saying he's in the trailer now. So
yeah, well he is. I'm not sure if it's him though.
You're not sure.
It looks like him.
It looks like him.
We just see like a quick split-second shot of the back of his head.
Oh, okay. So it could be anyone.
I'm really not sure if that's him.
Yeah, man.
Another thing, someone I think we see is Madame Gao from Daredevil.
Yeah, she just kind of disappeared through like halfway through season 2.
She was a really strange lady.
She was one strange person. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. I recall that she was originally an Iron Fist villain.
Yeah, but she was in Daredevil as that old Chinese lady that had blind people make like heroin for her.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, she was. I remember. What did she do? In one scene in Daredevil season 1, she like kicks him. She's like a little old lady. She kicks him, and he goes flying like 10 feet.
Oh yeah, she is like or I guess she's like trained in something.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure like what the deal is with her, because I remember there's at one point she tells the guy, "I'm going back home," and so she's Chinese. So the guy goes
back to China.
Well, no. She says, "I'm going back home," and the guy asks, "So you're going to China?" And then she just looks at him and says, "It's much farther than that."
Ooh. Okay.
And I was like, "Whoa!"
Actually,
where is she from?
So the whole thing with Stick and whatever it was, the Stick, Stone, all of those people, right? That's been set up through Daredevil season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I was expecting it to maybe be paid off in Daredevil season 3, but actually, I just remembered that that is a huge part of Iron Fist lore. And I think he actually does know Stick. He's like, he might be trained by him. I forget, but man, he's definitely a part of that. So there's the hand, right? And those are the
yeah.
Those are the evil ninja people. Wow, I can really see all this tying together, right? So.
I think something cool in the Iron Fist trailer, there's a lot of punching, but I'm going to say like it looks really cool. I think this might be kind of like an action show, like how Daredevil was. I think we might see some really cool fight scenes.
If they can avoid trying to like, I guess, grittify this like they did Daredevil, I think you have a solid show. And what I mean by that is that Daredevil, it didn't necessarily take the source material 100% seriously, and it knew that it thought it had to fix some of the problems with the source material, right? Which is okay, except it was kind of looking at it like with a Man of Steel sort of attitude. And I believe we've gone over this in past episodes.
Yeah, I still really like Daredevil though.
Yeah. No, I do too. I'm saying that, hey, there are definitely some things you could do better with this.
Yeah. So in Iron Fist, we're gonna probably see a lot of action.
Yeah. I've heard that. I think if they really just kind of do go for, this guy has a magic fist, and we're still gonna take it 100% seriously, then do that, right? Because that's how I really want it to go. Because with Daredevil, they didn't. They knew they had to take out some stuff, which just doesn't make sense. But with this, I think you really do have to go all in, on the magic stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which I think they're doing from what I can see.
Do you think
there is something that has me worried about that? He has a tattoo on his
on his chest? Yeah, I remember that.
I forget if that's. Hold on, let me look up something real fast. Okay, yeah. So Iron Fist actually does have a tattoo on his body. So I was worried at first that, hey, maybe they're gonna do like they're gonna try to make it so, hey, we don't have to make a real costume because he has the Iron Fist tattoo on his chest. But apparently that is a thing in the comics. So
okay.
Good for
Cool.
them.
Do you think we'll see any other Defenders?
I wouldn't be surprised for Luke Cage to show up, but I was also expecting Jessica Jones to show up in Luke Cage. So in that, didn't happen.
That was a little disappointing.
I think it would be fun if Luke Cage was a bit of like a someone who tied everyone together, because in the comics, Luke Cage is Iron Fist's best friend.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're gonna do something with that in the shows.
Yeah. We might see. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Claire again.
Yeah. No.
Because she's literally
also a Link.
showed up in every single one of the Defenders shows.
Yeah. Exactly.
So if they want to keep that record,
yeah,
I think they're using Claire as a way to tie them all together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. I think it looks good. There's not a lot bad I can say about it right now.
The trailer doesn't reveal a whole lot of the plot.
Yeah, it's like a minute and a half. It's coming out March 17th, so that's a good half year away.
Finally they gave us some release dates, because
man,
a lot of their shows, they're saying, it's coming out in 2017.
You know what we need a trailer for?
What?
Wolverine 3.
Yes.
Logan, right? Which we talked about last week. And I get that we're getting a ton of like images and stuff right now, and we just got the title. I'm expecting it's all leading up to a trailer, right? And that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, right? We need a trailer for that.
That's it's just called
coming.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit lame, but
no, I like it.
What?
You don't like that?
Once I see Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
it's got the awesome mix Volume 1, Volume 2. I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point, but like
something interesting James Gunn actually said is that there currently are no plans for a Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So I don't know. Hopefully I really like the first one.
Hasn't announced like a new phase.
Yeah, exactly.
So who knows?
But I would expect that they're planning something, and Marvel usually does like their trilogies. So I find it kind of odd that they wouldn't make a...
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we haven't even seen a trailer for that yet, so...
Yeah. I was thinking about, you know how currently in the Marvel Comics they have the Civil War II event going on?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that, and I really like Civil War II. Mm-hmm. I don't like... I really, really despise the first Civil War. And I realized that the worst part about Civil War II isn't that it's occurring and that they're having another event based off superheroes fighting each other, which is just something that's repeated so often in Marvel,
Yeah. It was fun in Civil War to have superheroes
in the
fighting
movie.
each other.
In the movie, it's an original idea, but in the comics, it's been going on for decades. Man.
Also, in the movies, it's more fun to watch action.
And I realized that the worst part about Civil War II was that everyone loves a trilogy.
Yeah.
It's so we're gonna have a Civil War 3.
Oh boy.
I don't care. And I know that these events are eventually gonna be put into the movies, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if Civil War 2 gets an adaptation into a movie. I'm betting like Phase 4.
Maybe we'll have a Civil War 3 when we're middle-aged.
When we're middle-aged.
Who knows?
That's gonna be the day.
But yeah, Marvel always does their trilogy, so Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is probably going to happen. Except one thing that's not really a trilogy is they're gonna make 4 Avengers movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Except, isn't it going to be Infinity War Part 1 and 2?
Right now, recently they changed the name of Infinity War Part 1 to just Infinity War, and they said Part 4 is like a different movie or something.
Oh,
but,
okay.
What's it called? The Wasp, Evangeline Lilly, just came out, who plays Hope or whatever.
Yeah.
Just came out and said that she is going to be in Avengers 4, and that Avengers 4 will be the second part of something. So I don't know.
So they're kind of making a trilogy still. It's like, we really need to come up with a name for those by now, because at this point there's been a lot of trilogies that are like 4 movies because they split the last one into 2 movies. You know what I'm saying?
Quadrologies. There's probably already a word for it.
Yeah.
Right?
But those are becoming too popular these days.
Yeah.
They split something into a couple movies unnecessarily.
So I'm going to go off on a mini tangent right now about Arrow. And you haven't watched Arrow.
No.
But just kind of, I'm going to give my general thoughts of the whole series, and then I'm going to tell you some short things about what I think of the first 2 episodes of season 5. So I generally like the first 2 seasons. I hate the 3rd season. I'm okay with the 4th season. I'm pretty sure that's a general consensus from pretty much everyone who watches the show. But in season 5, I was expecting it to either be okay or go bad. But last week when I watched the first episode of season 5, I was really surprised because, my God, Arrow is good again. And that was something I wasn't expecting. I was actually expecting to drop the show once it started, because I was so tired of it. And then it just came in and it was like, boom, this is good again. And I was just really surprised. The second episode came out yesterday. I was watching it, and definitely not as good as the first episode of season 5. Still pretty good, and I can see that they're riding off of that momentum, and hopefully that's going to continue for the entire season, because I've really hoped that Arrow would get better for such a long period of time. Desi hasn't watched The Flash this week yet. But I can affirm that it's good. We'll probably talk about it next week. He's a bit behind on TV.
I've been getting a lot of homework lately, Ben.
Yeah. So have I, Desi. So have I. But season 2 of Supergirl just started. I like it. It's I didn't watch like the ending of season 1 of Supergirl because I just could not bring myself to care. But this episode did a really good job with Superman. And that whole shebang, and it's it was pretty decent, and I would say it's about time for us to wrap up here. So thank you for listening. This has been the Watchtower, where you get your weekly opinions on superhero movies and TV shows and other stuff relating to that.
Live every Thursday at 3 p.m. on Boston Free Radio, or just subscribe to us on YouTube at The Watchtower, hosted by Ben and Desi.
All right. See you guys next week. Bye.